Imagine this, a vast, unforgiving landscape of snow and ice, the Ural Mountains in Russia, February 1959. 9 experienced hikers, full of life and adventure, make their way up a slope they call Kalat Sayakal, which in the local language means dead mountain. They're students and graduates from the Ural Polytechnical Institute, led by Igor Dyatlov. They are skilled, well-equipped, and in high spirits. After a long day of trekking through the blizzard, they set up their tent on the eastern slope, ready for a cold but peaceful night. They share a meal, maybe tell some jokes, and take a few photos, capturing the last moments of their lives. They seem happy, they seem healthy. They have no idea that by morning they will all be dead. This is the story of the Dyatlov Pass Incident, a mystery that has haunted investigators, terrified armchair detectives, and defied all logical explanation for over 60 years. What happened on that frozen mountainside? The official answer only deepens the mystery, and the evidence left behind paints a picture of pure, unimaginable terror. When a search party was finally dispatched weeks later, what they discovered was deeply unsettling. The hiker's tent was found, but it wasn't collapsed by an avalanche or ripped apart by a storm. It was methodically sliced open from the inside. The group's belongings, their clothes, their food, their maps were all left behind. It was clear that whatever happened, it caused them to flee their only shelter in a state of absolute panic. Outside the tent, a trail of footprints led down the slope towards a dense forest nearly a mile away. The footprints told a chilling story. Some were made by bare feet, others by feet wearing only socks or a single boot. In the brutal -30°C weather, these 9 experienced hikers ran into the darkness, abandoning their coats, boots, and gloves. They willingly faced certain death from hypothermia. The question is, what could possibly be more terrifying than freezing to death? What were they running from? The first 2 bodies were found at the edge of the forest, near the remains of a small fire. They were barefoot and dressed only in their underwear. The branches on a nearby pine tree were broken up to 5 meters high, suggesting someone had desperately tried to climb it, perhaps to get a better view of the camp, or of whatever was approaching them. 3 more bodies, including that of group leader Igor Dyatlov, were found between the tree and the tent site. They seemed to have been trying to return to the shelter. Their official cause of death was hypothermia. It was a tragic, but seemingly straightforward end. But the real horror was yet to come. 2 months later, as the snow began to melt, the remaining 4 hikers were discovered in a ravine, buried under 4 meters of snow, and their injuries were unlike anything the investigators had ever seen. One had a severely fractured skull. 2 others had massive chest trauma, with ribs crushed with such force that the medical examiner compared the damage to being hit by a car. Yet, bizarrely, there were no external wounds, no soft tissue damage, no bruises on their skin. It was as if they had been squeezed by an immense, invisible force. And then there was the most gruesome discovery of all. Ludmila Dubanina, one of the hikers found in the ravine, was missing her tongue, her eyes, and part of her facial tissue. Another hiker, Semyon Zolotaryov, was also missing his eyes. Initial reports suggested this was just natural decay from being in a stream, but the details have fueled endless speculation. As if the story wasn't strange enough, it gets weirder. When the hiker's clothing was tested, several items showed significant levels of radioactive contamination. Where did this radiation come from? It wasn't from a natural source on the mountain. To add to the puzzle, other hikers and local tribesmen in the region reported seeing strange, bright orange spheres or orbs floating in the sky on the night the group perished. Were these celestial phenomena or something else entirely? Theories have ranged from the plausible to the paranormal. Was it a secret Soviet weapons test gone wrong? The radiation and the strange lights in the sky would certainly fit. Did they stumble upon a military secret they weren't supposed to see? Or was it something more primal? The name of the mountain, Dead Mountain, and local legends of a mink or Russian Yeti have led some to believe they were attacked by a creature. And, of course, with the unexplained lights and radiation, the theory of an alien encounter is never far behind. The Soviet government's handling of the case only added more fuel to the fire. The investigation was abruptly closed after just a few months. The files were classified as top secret and hidden away for decades. Their official conclusion was that the hikers died from a compelling natural force, a vague, unsatisfying explanation for such a bizarre and violent event. The area around the pass was sealed off to the public for years. In 2019, Russian authorities reopened the case, concluding that an avalanche was the most likely cause. They argued that a small slab avalanche could have hit the tent, causing initial injuries and forcing the group to flee, after which they got lost in the dark and succumbed to the cold. But this explanation doesn't satisfy everyone. It doesn't explain the lack of external injuries, the radiation, the missing tongue, or why they would run a mile downhill away from their supplies. To this day, the truth remains buried in the snows of the Ural Mountains. 9 lives were cut short in the most terrifying way imaginable, leaving behind a legacy of unanswered questions. What compelling natural force could drive 9 experienced hikers to their doom? We may never know. Thanks for watching. If you found this story as fascinating as I did, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more dives into the world's greatest mysteries.